Well, and to finish, I am going to show you the plugins that I have installed and that I consider the most useful and necessary for Visual Studio Code in 2021. For this, we will go to the extension section in the left side menu and go to the Explorer. Before we start, I want to remind you that for the plugins to start working, it will be necessary in many cases to restart VS Code. So don't panic if you install an extension and don't see the changes at this point. The first plugin on the list is called AutoClose Tag from Junhan. As I mentioned earlier, Visual Studio Code already includes closure tag support, but this is only available for HTML and a couple of other programming languages. With AutoClose Tag, we are expanding this list of languages in which tags are automatically closed. These languages include PHP, JavaScript, or XML, among others. The following plugin is also from Junhan and is called AutoRemain Tag. With this plugin, we can edit a tag without having to modify both ends. If, for example, we want to modify the h1 that we have created in the index.html, first it will be necessary to change both the opening and closing tag. But with AutoClose Tag, this is no longer the case, since we will be modifying both ends simultaneously. The third of the plugins is Material Icon Theme by Philip Kiev. This is a purely aesthetic plugin that has no other function than to change the icons of the code files that we have created. It may seem silly, but when we are working with large projects that include different programming languages, it will help us a lot to distinguish the files and the languages in which they are written. The next plugin on the list is Prettier, developed by Prettier. This plugin will allow us to format our code in a way that is much cleaner, more readable, and well structured. It is especially useful for those people who are a bit messy when programming or want to read a plain file. For this, the only things we will have to do is go to our file and open the command palette through the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-P or from the View tab. Inside the palette, we type Format Document. Next, if it is the first time that we use this plugin, a tab will be opening which tells us that there are different sources to format our code. We click on Configure and select the Prettier option. We press Enter, and as you can see, our code has already been clean and well structured. And reaching the end of the list, we find another very interesting plugin to format our code, and that will facilitate us the task of reading and understanding it. Its name is Bracket Part Colorizer 2 from CoinRads, and basically what this plugin does is assign a different color to each pair of parentheses, brackets, or braces that we open, so that later it is much easier to identify which is the opening parenthesis and the closing one. In addition, we can add as many colors as we want and modifying the existing ones. To do this, we will go to the Settings wheel and select the option Colors Edit with JSON. Here we can add as many colors as we want in RGB format, hexadecimal, or by color name, as long as it is valid and the system recognizes it. And as the last plugin, I would like to show you Open in Browser from Prettier. This plugin is an alternative to the Run and Debug tab to run our code more easily and faster. To do this, once the plugin is installed, we will select our default browser from the Settings wheel. In this case, I select Chrome. And then we will go to the file that we want to execute and right-click. We select the option Open in Default Browser, and as you can see, our file runs. Or we can also select the option Open in Other Browser to select a different browser than the default one.